Ontario hits back. Premiers stand firm amid Trump's escalating trade war. In a rapidly intensifying trade conflict between Canada and the United States, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has issued a stern warning to former President Donald Trump, advising him to be very cautious about targeting Canadian industries with punitive tariffs. The warning comes in response to Trump's aggressive economic strategy aimed at reshaping North American trade, which has drawn both economic and political backlash across the Canadian landscape. Rising tensions over tariffs. Trump, signaling a return to his protectionist policies, has proposed sweeping tariffs on Canadian exports, ranging from aluminum and steel to autos and energy. The potential for economic disruption has sent shockwaves through Canada's political and industrial sectors, with Premier Doug Ford emerging as one of the most outspoken critics of Trump's trade rhetoric. Speaking to reporters in Toronto, Ford emphasized the importance of Canada-US economic ties and warned that any action threatening Canadian exports would hurt American businesses just as badly, if not more. "We build things together. We make cars together. Any disruption to this supply chain won't just hurt Ontario workers, it will also cost American jobs," said Ford. Auto industry bears the brunt. The auto industry, which is deeply intertwined across the US-Canada border, has already begun to feel the pinch. General Motors and Ford Motor Company have each reported significant financial losses directly tied to supply chain disruptions and increased costs from recent tariffs. General Motors disclosed a staggering 35% drop in second quarter earnings, attributing over $1 billion in losses to trade complications stemming from Trump's revived tariff threats. Ford Motor Company, similarly, has withdrawn its profit forecasts for the year, predicting more than $1.5 billion in lost operating income due to cross-border trade uncertainties. Stellantis, the maker of Dodge, Jeep, and Chrysler, reported €2.3 billion in losses, highlighting how tariffs are severely impacting the North American automotive manufacturing ecosystem. Ford versus Trump. A political showdown. Doug Ford's leadership during the crisis has taken center stage. Earlier this year, Ford briefly proposed a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to U.S. states in retaliation to U.S. tariffs, though he ultimately backed off the plan under pressure from the federal government and business leaders. Now, facing a renewed round of American trade threats, Ford has once again stepped up, warning the U.S. that Canada will not remain idle if unfair tariffs are enacted. "If Trump, wants a trade war, he'll have one. But we're going to defend our workers and our industries with everything we've got," Ford said. Ottawa's strategic patience. While Ford has taken a more combative approach, Prime Minister Mark Carney and his administration are pursuing a strategy of strategic patience. The federal government is still in negotiations with Washington, aiming to secure a durable economic security agreement that would stabilize trade relations. Carney recently stated that the Canadian government would not rush to sign a deal before the self-imposed August 1 deadline unless it protects Canada's economic interests. "No deal is better than a bad deal," said the Prime Minister in a press conference in Ottawa. The differing approaches between Ford and Carney underscore the tension within Canadian leadership, between immediate political retaliation and long-term strategic positioning. Buy Canadian. Movement gaining ground. In response to American tariff aggression, Canadian provinces and businesses have started to rally behind a new wave of economic nationalism. A Buy Canadian movement has gained traction, encouraging consumers to prioritize domestic products over imported American goods. Several provincial liquor boards, including those in Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia, have removed American-made wines and spirits from store shelves in protest. Public campaigns are being launched to support local manufacturing, agriculture, and energy industries. "This isn't about politics. It's about standing up for Canadian jobs," said Ontario's Economic Development Minister. A shift in trade strategy. With U.S. trade becoming increasingly unstable, Canadian policymakers are also accelerating trade diversification strategies. The government is strengthening trade ties with Europe and Asia, particularly through the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership (CPTPP) and CETA agreements. Domestically, efforts are underway to break down interprovincial trade barriers to create a stronger internal market. These steps are seen not only as a response to Trump but as long overdue reforms to make Canada's economy more self-reliant. Economic consequences on both sides. Though Trump's strategy aims to protect American jobs, it may be having the opposite effect. U.S. automakers rely heavily on parts manufactured in Canada. Disrupting this supply chain increases production costs and lowers competitiveness. Industry experts warn that escalating tariffs could trigger price hikes on vehicles in both countries and lead to layoffs in U.S. plants that rely on Canadian components. If tariffs are raised to 35% as Trump is suggesting, you can expect serious inflation in the auto sector, said a senior analyst at North American Trade Council. A turning point for Canada. Many see